What happens when you put in a cage fight a giant in with a midget?
You remember Georgia Representative Hank Johnson? Of course, he will never live this down.
I've always wanted to ask you, that was a joke when he said, well, I'm floating, right?
It was.
This is a island that at its widest level is, 12 miles from shore to shore? Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
The same congressman voted most clueless by congressional staffers recently delivered a speech that eclipsed everything Johnson had said in the past combined.
Ironically, the wise and learned framers of our Constitution never intended for the rights and privileges guaranteed thereunder to apply to dark-skinned human beings or to women. The white male property owners who were the great thinkers who framed the Constitution meant for its protections to apply only amongst themselves. Our democracy teeters on the brink of failure. The lofty ideals of freedom and liberty that America was founded upon are being overtaken by a vigorous resurgence of bigotry, hate, cruelty, and ignorance. Chaos and confusion rule the day.
Johnson even raised Hillary Clinton's bar on generalizing at least 150 million Americans that support our president.
Donald Trump and his Make America Great Again followers, who want to return America back to a time when white men and white privilege were unchallenged, and where minorities and women were in their place. These folks now control the highest office of the land. Donald Trump's supporters are older, less educated, less prosperous, and they are dying early. Their lifespans are decreasing, and many are dying from alcoholism, drug overdoses, liver disease, or simply a broken heart caused by economic despair. Right-wing ideologues gain power by playing on people's economic despair, pitting working people against each other, inflaming racial tensions by blaming economic hardship on people of color.
And when it comes to the president, Johnson rambled from the void of Democratic Marxist talking points we have all come to loathe.
The Jewish people understand tyranny. Charismatic and a good public speaker, deceptive and cunning, Adolf Hitler rose to power to lead Germany in 1932 after democratic elections. He rode a wave of nationalism and anti-Semitism to power. Replace anti-Semitism with all Latinos crossing our borders are rapists, drug dealers, and murderers. Does that sound familiar? Much like Hitler took over the Nazi Party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
But it is Johnson who actually has more in common with Adolf Hitler. Just 2 years ago, he compared Israeli settlers to termites. As the Washington Free Beacon reported, Johnson said, "There has been a steady stream, almost like termites, can get into a residence and eat before you know that you've been eaten up, and you fall in on yourself. There's been a settlement activity that has marched forward with impunity and at an ever-increasing rate to the point where it has become alarming." Johnson said during an event sponsored by the U.S. campaign to end the Israeli occupation.
When Hitler became chancellor, his supporters marched through Berlin with torches. I'm reminded of the tiki torches that the racist anti-Semites paraded through Charlottesville with, chanting, quote, "Jews won't replace us," end quote.
Hank Johnson was right where the policies of big government had placed him, amongst the groupthink of the state-run 501c3 church agenda, where the IRS determines what will be said and truth no longer reigns.
The people of Great Britain in response to a right-wing, anti-immigrant inspired Brexit campaign, voted to leave the European Union. The financial hub of the European Union is leaving the European Union. The people of Brazil recently elected as president a right-wing, racist, authoritarian nationalist. History is repeating itself across the globe.
But a U.S. congressman is given a blank check to rally disinformation, hatred, and treason into the minds of his constituents. John Bound reporting.